We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about national income. We will also discuss topics like gross domestic product, gross national product, etc. We will also discuss about monetary policy, fiscal policy. We will also discuss about bank, the whole structure of bank in India in brief. So let us start our session on national income and other important topic. Dear students and viewers, good noon, namaste. Hope you all are safe and healthy at your home. COVID-19 should not stop us from learning process, and that's why I am here to share something very important for all present here. Dear students, I request you all to take pen and notebook to note down instruction given by me and to note down confusion, question or any query arise throughout the session. Interaction on confusion, question or any query will be done after completion of delivery of whole session using chat window. One more important announcement. During session, I will share a link using chat window for attendance at any time. So be attentive, open that link and mention required details. After filling it, click on submit button and come back to YouTube window in which you are viewing this live session. So without wasting time, let me start this session on national income. Okay. So what is national income? Basically, when we talk about national income, the national income is the total amount of income accruing to a country from economic activity in a year time. It includes payments made to all resources either in the form of wages, salary, interest, rent and profits. The progress of a country can be determined by the growth of the national income of the company. If we can say that if our national income is increasing, the progress of the country is good. So the formula to calculating national income. National income is equal to consumption plus government expenditure plus investment plus export minus import plus foreign production by national resident minus domestic production by non-national resident. Consumption means we all are using money to buy something. Government is also purchasing some goods for the citizen of country. Government as well as we also do some investment. Export means goods and services produced within domestic level and sent it to some another country. Import means goods and services produced at some another country abroad, and we are importing or we are getting it in our country. Plus foreign production by national resident means any Indian producing something in USA minus domestic production by non-national resident means any USA citizen producing something, producing any good in India, that is considered as domestic production by non-national resident. Now, gross domestic product. What is GDP? GDP is the monetary value of all finished goods and services made within a country during a specific period. Here, specific period is equal to 1 year, or particularly 12 months. Gross domestic product provides an economic snapshot of a country used to estimate the size of an economy and growth rate. That's why if any people want to measure the growth of the nation, he or she can talk about GDP growth rate, gross domestic product growth rate. Okay. Now, what is net domestic product? Net domestic product is nothing but it is when we are calculating GDP, if we remove depreciation from GDP or minus GDP minus depreciation, that is equal to net domestic product. Now, another topic is gross national product. Gross national product is the value of all goods and services made by a country's resident and businesses regardless of production location. Means someone is producing any Indian is producing goods or services within India, in US, in Australia, in Canada, can be considered in GNP. GNP counts the investment made by US resident in businesses both inside and outside the country and computes the value of all products manufactured by domestic companies regardless of where they are made. Means any Indian company is manufacturing goods in India or in any country, in USA, in Australia, in Canada, can be considered in GNP, gross national product. Gross national product doesn't count any income earned in the United States by foreign resident or businesses and exclude products manufactured in the United States by overseas firm. Means as we are considering any production carried out by Indian in USA, in Australia, or Indian company in Australia, in Canada, or any other country, that is included in GNP. But if any foreign national, if any US citizen is producing goods or services within India, we need to exclude it from GNP. We cannot consider that good produced by any US citizen in India, that is eliminated while counting gross national product. Same as net domestic product, net national product is equal to gross national product minus depreciation. When we are counting net, we need to minus depreciation from gross. Gross minus depreciation, that is net, in case of gross domestic product or in case of gross national product. Now, the very important topic of today's session, that is monetary policy. Monetary policy is the macroeconomic policy laid down by the central bank. Why it is macroeconomic? Because monetary policy of a single country can affect all over the world. It is a macro level thing. That's why it is considered as macroeconomic policy. It involves management of money supply and interest rate, and is the demand side economy policy used by the government of a country to achieve macroeconomic objectives like inflation, consumption, growth, and liquidity. See, do you know about inflation? What is inflation? Inflation means today I am going to purchase 1 kg of potato, and for that 1 kg of potato I need to give 30 rupees for 1 kg of potato. After 2-3 days, if I will go for purchasing potato, and if for the same amount of potato, means 1 kg of potato, if I need to give 100 or 150 rupees, then we can say that inflation rate is very high. And if any government or if any central bank of the country wants to control the inflation, repo rate should be increased. Means to control, many countries are increasing repo rate while they are going to control inflation. We will also see what is repo rate. Monetary policy tools include open market operations, direct lending to banks, bank reserve requirements, unconventional emergency lending programs, and managing. Which one is central bank? Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of India. Means all the banks, scheduled banks, non-scheduled banks, commercial banks, private banks, foreign bank working in India needs to follow the rules and regulations made by Reserve Bank of India. So central banks have 3 monetary policy objectives. The most important is to manage inflation. To manage inflation, that is the objective of monetary policy, first objective. The secondary objective is to reduce unemployment. So to reduce unemployment is also the objective of monetary policy, and monetary policy is governed by the central bank of any country. In our case, Reserve Bank of India is the main operator of monetary policy, but only after controlling inflation. Means any central bank can go for reduction of unemployment, but only after controlling inflation. And the third objective is to promote moderate long-term interest rates. That is the third objective of any monetary policy. Now, monetary policy tools. Tool number one for any monetary policy: open market operation. What is open market operation? It refers to the buying and selling of securities by the central bank from public or selling it to public and commercial banks. It sells government securities during inflation, excess demand, and buys the securities during deflation, deficient demand. It refers to the buying and selling of securities by the central bank from or to the public and commercial banks. It sells government securities during inflation, excess demand, and buys the security during deflation or deficit of demand. Now, what is inflation and deflation? As I told, inflation means sudden price rises. Means today I am purchasing potato at rupees 30 per kg. After 2-3 days, if I have to give 150 rupees for the same amount of potato or 1 kg of potato, I have to pay 150. That is increasing inflation. But when price cuts, for example, right now, today, I am purchasing potato at the rate of 30 rupees per kg. But after 2-3 days, if price of 1 kg of potato is 3 rupees, then it is deflation. Price reduction. Another tool, that is reserve requirement. The central bank tell their members how much money they must keep on reserve each night. Not everyone needs all their money each day, so it is safe for the banks to lend most of it out. That way, they have enough cash on hand to meet most demand for redemption. In very recent time, you must have heard about the crisis of Yes Bank. Yes Bank is the some problems are having with Yes Bank. Okay, so in such cases, reserve amount will be taken by RBI in regular operation. So in such cases, at present, Yes Bank is governed by Reserve Bank of India. From that reserve amount which uh, Reserve Bank is taking in regularly period. Okay. When a central bank want to restrict liquidity, it raises the reserve requirement that gives bank less money to lend. When it want to expand liquidity, it lowers the requirement. That gives members bank more money to lend. Central bank rarely change the reserve requirement because it requires a lot of paperwork for the members. Now interest rate. That is how much a central bank charges members to borrow fund from its discount window. It raises the discount rate to discourage bank from borrowing. That action reduces liquidity and slow the economy. By lowering discount rate, it encourages borrowing, that increases liquidity and boosts the growth. Various interest rates are repo rate, reverse repo rate. So first is repo rate and reverse repo rate. But before that, we need to understand banking structure. So Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of India. Under Reserve Bank, there are two types of bank: scheduled bank and unscheduled bank. Under scheduled bank, there are another two types of bank: commercial banks and cooperative banks. Under these commercial bank, there are four types of bank: public sector banks, private sector banks, foreign sector banks, and regional rural banks. Now, if we talk about public sector banks, State Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Dena Bank, Bank of India, these all are considered as public sector banks. Private sector banks, HDFC, ICICI, these are called private banks. Foreign sector banks mean any foreign bank working in India, that is considered as foreign sector banks. Then regional rural banks. You must heard about Grameen banks, Baroda Gujarat Grameen banks, Dena Grameen banks. These are considered as regional rural banks. Now, what is scheduled banks? A scheduled bank is a bank which is listed in second schedule of the RBI Act 1934. All nationalized banks, private banks, foreign banks, and some, not all cooperative banks are listed in this schedule. Cooperative banks can become scheduled banks if they adhere to certain conditions. Means those who are following conditions according to the second schedule of the RBI Act 1934 are considered as scheduled bank, and other banks, those not came under scheduled bank, are called non-scheduled banks. Central bank in India, it is RBI, Reserve Bank of India, an apex body that controls, operates, regulates, and directs the entire banking and monetary structure of the country. So the main authority in banking system as well as monetary structure, that is called central bank. And in India, Reserve Bank of India is the central bank. Now, functions of central bank: currency authority, or bank of issue means the currency notes. To issue currency notes is the function of central bank. Bankers to the government means government wants to open the account or save some amount, so it is the responsibility of central bank. It is a banker of the government. Bankers bank and supervisor. All the commercial banks, those who want to put some amount to earn some interest, they can put their money in reserve bank or in central bank. So it is called bankers bank and supervisor. Controller of money supply and credit. Why we can say that central bank is a controller of money supply? Central bank is controlling money supply using repo rate and reverse repo rate. To increase repo rate, to decrease repo rate, it is the authority of central bank, and that's why it is the function of central bank. And last, that is custodian of foreign exchange reserve. For example, you are having $20, $20 US, and you need to convert it. So any money changers will let you convert. So through any money changers, you can convert your USD into INR, Indian rupees. But from that money changers, Reserve Bank will extract all the foreign currencies. And that's why it is called custodian of foreign exchange reserve. Now, the most important topic, that is repo rate. What is repo rate? When the commercial banks are in need of funds for a short period, they can borrow from the central bank. The rate of interest charged by the central bank on such lendings is called repo rate. Means if any commercial bank or private bank, for example SBI or HDFC bank, is in need of fund for a short period of time, they will take some money, borrow some money from Reserve Bank of India. On that amount, Reserve Bank will charge some interest, and that interest rate is called repo rate. Raising repo rate makes such borrowing by the commercial bank costly. Means if Reserve Bank increase the repo rate, all commercial bank will decrease in borrowing. Means at present, for example, SBI is taking 100 crore from Reserve Bank at 4.5% of repo rate. If Reserve Bank increase it to 4.5 to 5, means now new repo rate is 5%, then SBI will borrow less amount than in previous case. Okay. As such, when repo rate is raised, banks are also forced to raise their lending rates. Means रेपो रेट जब 4.5 से 5% होता है, तो एसबीआई को भी ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट देना पड़ता है रिजर्व बैंक को. सो रिजर्व बैंक विल ऑल्सो इंक्रीज द रेट ऑफ सम हाउसिंग लोन, टू व्हीलर लोन, एजुकेशनल लोन. सो जब रेपो रेट इंक्रीज होगा तो हाउसिंग लोन का रेट, टू व्हीलर्स लोन का रेट, एजुकेशनल लोन का रेट वो भी इंक्रीज होगा. दिस हैज अ नेगेटिव इफेक्ट ऑन डिमांड फॉर बोरोइंग्स फ्रॉम द कमर्शियल बैंक. Lowering repo rate has the opposite effect. Means if repo rate will decrease, how the rate of housing loans and all are decreases. Current repo rate is 4.40% as on 17th April 2020. As on today's rate, it is given by Reserve Bank of India. So today's current repo rate is 4.40%. Means if any commercial bank wants to borrow some money from Reserve Bank, they need to pay interest of 4.40% to Reserve Bank. Okay. Reverse repo rate. When the commercial bank have surplus funds, they can deposit the same with the central bank and earn interest. For example, I am having 10,000 rupees and I am putting 10,000 rupees in my savings account of any bank. So bank will provide me some interest rate, okay, on my 10,000. Same way, when any commercial bank put their amount in Reserve Bank will provide some interest rate on that particular amount. That interest rate is called reverse repo rate. The rate of interest paid by the central bank on such deposits is called reverse repo rate. When this rate is raised, it encourages the commercial bank to park their fund with the central bank. For example, today reverse repo rate is 5%. 5% के हिसाब से banks को interest मिलेगा when commercial bank are putting their money in reserve bank. But if reverse repo rate is 7%, then commercial bank will get interest of 7% on the money that they have put in reserve bank. This has the negative effect on the lending capacity of the commercial bank. Lowering the reverse repo rate has the opposite effect, which raises demand for borrowing from the commercial bank. Now, current reverse repo rate is 4%. Now, cash reserve ratio. It refers to the minimum percentage of net demand and time liability to be kept by commercial banks with central bank. Reserve Bank increase CRR during inflation and decrease the same during deflation. Current rate of cash reserve ratio is 3%. What is cash reserve ratio? See, it refers to the minimum percentage of net demand. Means, for example, SBI need to put 3% of amount of demand into reserve bank, and that is called cash reserve ratio. Each and every commercial bank, private bank, nationalized bank, even a regional rural bank need to put 3% of demand into reserve bank. That is called cash reserve ratio. There is one more ratio, that is statutory liquidity ratio. It refers to minimum percentage of net demand and time liabilities which commercial banks require to maintain with themselves. Statutory liquidity ratio is increased during inflation or excess demand and decreased during deflation or deficient demand. Current rate of SLR is 18% as on 17th April 2020. See, so when Reserve Bank is taking CRR, SLR, some amount from this bank, in cases of emergencies, as I have told the case of Yes Bank, with use of this CRR and SLR money, bank can manage the crisis of such commercial or private banks. Now, what is fiscal policy? Fiscal policy is the means by which a government adjusts its spending level and tax rates to monitor and influence a nation's economy. Basic example of fiscal policy is budget. Each and every year, government will decide how much amount should spend for which sector, education sector, technology, science, कौन से एग्रीकल्चर, मेडिसिन, कौन से सेक्टर में कितना इन्वेस्ट करना है, that is decided by fiscal policy. Simply, it is budget. It is the sister strategy to monetary policy through which a central bank influences a nation's money supply. Using a mix of monetary and fiscal policy, government can control economic phenomena. The two main tools of fiscal policy are taxes and spendings. Taxes influence the economy by determining how much money the government has to spend in certain areas and how much money individuals should spend. For example, if government is trying to spur spending among consumer, it can decrease taxes. कौन सी चीज पे कितना टैक्स लेना है, इनकम टैक्स कितना रखना है, कौन से टैक्स में से गवर्नमेंट को कितनी इनकम होगी, कितनी इनकम में से कितना एक्सपेंसेस कौन से सेक्टर में करना है, that will be decided by the fiscal policy. That's why in budget you can see that टेलीकम्युनिकेशन सेक्टर में टैक्स कम होगा तो चीजें कुछ कम दाम में मिलेगी. दैट इज डिसाइडेड बाय द फिस्कल पॉलिसी ऑफ द कंट्री. Now difference is between fiscal policy and monetary policy. Difference number one, fiscal policy change in government spending and tax rates, while monetary policy change in interest rates slash money supply. So in simply when we are talking about direct taxes like income tax कैसा रहेगा, कितना रहेगा, बढ़ेगा, कम होगा, कितनी इनकम पे कितना टैक्स लगेगा, that will be decided by fiscal policy. While इंटरेस्ट रेट, हाउसिंग लोन का इंटरेस्ट रेट कितना होगा, टू व्हीलर्स का इंटरेस्ट रेट कितना होगा, दैट विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. फिस्कल पॉलिसी सेट बाय द गवर्नमेंट व्हाइल मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी सेट बाय द सेंट्रल बैंक. सो फिस्कल पॉलिसी मींस अपना इनकम टैक्स कितना रहेगा, कितनी इनकम के पे कितना टैक्स लगेगा, दैट विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. व्हाइल हाउसिंग लोन का रेट कितना रहेगा, टू व्हीलर का रेट कितना रहेगा, दैट विल बी डिसाइडेड बाय रिजर्व बैंक ऑफ इंडिया. फॉर फिस्कल पॉलिसी देयर इज नो स्पेसिफिक टारगेट, व्हाइल if we are talking about monetary policy, there is a special target for controlling of inflation. Side effect on government budget borrowings means for example, right now government is having 50,000 crore and if government declares budget of 55,000 crore, that country means आपके पास 100 रुपये है और आप नेक्स्ट ईयर में खर्चा करने का प्लान कर रहे हो 150 रुपीज, सो इट विल कंसिडर एज डेफिसिट. गवर्नमेंट के पास जितना पैसा है उससे ज्यादा गवर्नमेंट स्पेंड करना चाहती है अपकमिंग ईयर्स में, तो इट इज कंसिडर्ड एज गवर्नमेंट डेफिसिट. सो दैट इज द साइड इफेक्ट ऑन गवर्नमेंट. साइड इफेक्ट ऑन एक्सचेंज रेट एंड हाउसिंग मार्केट, दैट इज अफेक्टेड बाय मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी. Strong political dimension to changing tax rates. So, for example, right now Modi government is there. तो मोदी गवर्नमेंट को अगर पब्लिक को थोड़ा खुश करना है तो वो इनकम टैक्स घटाएगी कि भाई जिसकी इनकम 5 लाख है उसको कोई टैक्स नहीं देना है. तो इट इज समथिंग पॉलिटिकल एजेंडा. बट मॉनेटरी पॉलिसी जो हाउसिंग लोन के रेट से, इट इज नॉट पॉलिटिकल एजेंडा, इट इज mostly independent from the political processes. So now all the important discussion on leadership have been completed from my side. So now you can ask any question. I will wait for 5-10 minutes. After that we will have a quiz. After 2-3 minutes, if you are having no question, then I will share a link using chat window for quiz. You have to answer all the questions asked in the quiz, and after answering all questions, click on next button and fill your enrollment number. Then click on submit button. After that, click on view scores button and you will have your score out of 10. Okay, if you are having no questions, then please complete the quiz, submit it, and you can contact me on my mobile number. My mobile number is 97251 46684. You may drop a text message or WhatsApp message on my mobile number for any topic. You may contact me using my email ID, that is hgv.ash@gdec.in. You can also drop a mail on hgv.ash@gdec.in. You can ask any question from any unit of our Principles of Economics and Management subject, PEM. Okay, so thank you students.